So if we didn't have this facility, if we didn't have the resources that we carry, then we wouldn't win consistently. And I hate leaving things to chance. I started with Honda in 2003, and then in 2007 they sat me down and spoke about outsourcing their factory program. With that opportunity came a great responsibility to find a home for Factory Honda. When we first came in, it was just a couple of bays. There was nothing that you see quite today. We started with the bare essentials, and what we didn't have, we would borrow. But for the best part, we had everything that we needed to go racing with, but we weren't as efficient as I needed it to be. So over the course of time, we've improved the efficiencies of our workshop by having hydraulic presses, by having an entirely focused suspension room, an engine room, things that we didn't have when we first started. So this is our engine and suspension room. I don't want you to see the bench behind you. There's obviously some things that we want to keep to ourselves. We're trying quite a few new things, particularly on our 250 as we prepare for next year, and we've been fortunate enough to get some information from some of the other Honda teams around the world. That's one of the great things about this global relationship that we're creating. We're sharing information. The World Supercross took a lot of resource, like literally we were flying around, what was it, the best part of 16 sets of factory suspension. This is Dean stuff that this is Roxon stuff here that we're getting ready to send back. In the back here is our parts room, one of two parts rooms. This one here is just generally where we keep some of our hard parts and some of the Honda parts, being close to the engine room. As you can see here to the right, as you come in, you can see some heads, obviously pistons, some of our Hinson componentry. We've got some different brake lines and calipers that we use thanks to Nissan. And the rest of these bays, which we won't go through, have other parts that we use primarily for the engine, and they're things that I obviously, again, prefer people not to see. Most of our bulk equipment that we need, which is primarily tyres and chemicals. To do a full season with our program, we'd go through close to 400 to 450 tyres. Throughout COVID is when we actually had the first opportunity to really drop tools to focus on the things that we haven't had the chance to do, because as you can appreciate with racing, it doesn't stop for anyone. Like, there is constant competition. So the priority to better equip the workshop wasn't high on the list. The most important thing for us was to continue to develop the motorcycles and some of the other resources that we have to go racing with. But during COVID, I had the chance to reassess everything and work on things that we hadn't had the chance to do. So we focused on heating and cooling the entire workshop. Then I wanted to enclose the area that they were working in. One, for cleanliness. Two, again, for heat and cooling. I wanted to provide them with the best possible place for them to work. We increased our work area because we increased the number of riders we were competing with, and we put other infrastructure in place to ensure that we had everything that we needed to be able to do our job properly. Each mechanic has their own bay. And like I said earlier on, we've got enough cupboard space in each of the riders' mechanics' bays to ensure that they're able to carry equipment. This particular motorcycle here is Kyle's practice bike, and as you can see, Craig's getting ready to put all of the production equipment back onto it for sale, to swap the plastics out. We're going to put a new graphic kit on it, which we always do when we sell a motorcycle. So we have enough work area to be able to put everything on board, to prepare a bike, pull a bike apart and get it ready for riding. This is probably one of my favourite rooms in the whole building. Some could say I built this for the riders so they had everything they need, but in terms of efficiencies, this was practical for me. I mean, I love nothing more than to utilise the gym. We even have some of the supercar drivers here. You can see that's Thomas Randall up there with the T Randall, who come and utilise this facility, which is great. So I mean, Justin's here most mornings. Kyle comes and uses it. They all come and use it, which is perfect. I think anything to do with the team's about inclusion, about having a place of comfort and a place of stability. So coming here to Honda Racing, they realise that they have the resources and infrastructure required to be able to do their job properly. I think that that's paramount to getting the best results, not only out of people, but from a race team and from riders. I think one of the key things that I've experienced with regards to negotiating with riders is them understanding that we have the facilities and resources required for them to be able to achieve their objectives. And there's nothing worse than turning up and feeling like there is a state of disarray. So I think it's extremely important that teams at this level, and it's not just our team, I think most of the teams today have the resources required to be able to compete at the highest level.